You walked into the garden center last spring. You grabbed a 4-inch pot because the tag said easy, low maintenance, full sun. Maybe the flowers were already open. Maybe it reminded you of your grandmother's yard. You brought it home, planted it, watered it in. And for a season or two, it was exactly what you hoped it would be. Then something changed. By year 3, you weren't gardening anymore. You were managing. And there's a difference. I've been gardening for over 20 years. I've made these mistakes personally. I've heard from thousands of you who've made them too. Today, I'm giving you the list I wish someone had handed me at the gate. 10 perennial plants that look like a great idea right up until they aren't. And the better plant that belongs in each spot. Stick till the end to find which one of these plants is currently illegal to keep in the UK. Let's go. Number 10. Lily of the Valley. The fragrance alone could sell it. Sweet, cool, unmistakably spring. The little white bellflowers drape down in perfect arches in late April and early May, and they look exactly like a wedding bouquet. Delicate, romantic, impossible to say no to. Now, here's the problem. Lily of the Valley spreads by underground rhizomes, and those rhizomes do not respect property lines, garden beds, or your patience. It will carpet a shaded area completely within 4 to 5 years. It will come up through landscape fabric. It will emerge between flagstones. The only thing harder than killing it is explaining to your neighbor why it's now growing in their yard. And here's what the tag never mentions. Every part of this plant is toxic. The leaves, the berries, the roots, the water in the vase, cardiac glycosides, dangerous to children, fatal to pets. It is not a plant you want in a yard where dogs run or kids play. Here's what to plant instead. Solomon's Seal. Same shade tolerance, same elegant arching stems, same graceful spring presence. The white-edged leaves look beautiful from May through October. It spreads politely by a few inches a year, and you can divide it when you want more. No toxicity concerns, no rhizome army. 9. Yellow Loosestrife. Its bright, cheerful yellow flowers on upright stems from June to July. It fills a gap in the color calendar when a lot of perennial beds go quiet. It's cheap. It establishes fast. It looks like exactly what a sun border needs between the salvia and the black-eyed Susans. Here's the problem. Yellow loosestrife spreads both seed and rhizome, and it uses both aggressively. Within 3 seasons, a single plant becomes a colony. It crowds out everything near it. Slower perennials, ornamental grasses, ground covers that took you years to establish. It doesn't announce itself. It just quietly takes over while you're paying attention to other things. Here's what to plant instead. Alexander variegated yellow loosestrife. Same species, but the variegated form is significantly less vigorous. Cream and green striped foliage, the same yellow flowers, and a spread rate you can actually manage. It earns a spot in the garden. The straight species earns a spot on your regret list. Number 8. Bishop's Weed Goutweed. The variegated version, green and cream leaves, gets sold as a carefree ground cover for difficult spots. Shady area under a tree where grass won't grow? This will fill it. It's often given away by neighbors, which should be your first warning. The problem is bishop's weed is one of the most persistent plants in North American gardens. Once established, it is nearly impossible to remove without repeated applications of herbicide or complete soil excavation. The rhizomes go deep and break easily. Every fragment left in the ground regenerates. It will move out of the shady corner you assigned it and into adjacent beds, lawns, and vegetable gardens. Several Canadian provinces list it as invasive. It is a commitment with no exit. Here's what to plant instead. Epimedium, true dry shade ground cover with heart-shaped leaves that turn bronze in fall, tiny yellow flowers in spring, and a spread rate measured in inches per year, not feet. It does the job bishop's weed promises to do without becoming a decade-long removal project. 7. Orange Daylily, the ditch lily. You see it growing along roadsides in July, and it looks amazing. Bold, tough, completely unattended. That roadside toughness is exactly why it's in this list. The problem is, this is not a well-behaved garden daylily. Hemerocallis fulva, the common tawny orange daylily, spreads by rhizome with the same energy it uses to colonize highway embankments. In a garden bed, it will outcompete nearly everything around it within 4 to 5 years. Digging it out means getting every single rhizome, leave a piece the size of your pinky finger, and it's back next spring. The orange color is also blunt and difficult to pair. It clashes with almost every other warm color in a summer border. Here's what to plant instead. Any modern named daylily cultivar, Stella de Oro, for compact yellow repeat blooming, Happy Returns for soft lemon yellow, Rosy Returns for a reliable pink. Named cultivars are clump-forming, well-behaved, and bred to stay where you plant them. The roadside daylily is a weed wearing flowers. 6. Plume poppy. Nothing in a perennial border looks quite like it. Huge lobed silver-gray leaves, 8-foot stems, feathery buff-colored plumes in July. It is genuinely architectural and dramatic in a way that makes it irresistible in catalogs. Here's the problem. Plume poppy spreads by rhizome at a rate that surprises most gardeners. A single plant becomes a thicket in 3 years. It shades out everything within its expanding footprint, and the rhizomes travel far enough that new shoots can appear 10 feet from the original plant. Once established in a border, removing it requires digging the entire surrounding area. Here's what to plant instead. Morning light miscanthus, silver-edged arching grass, 5 to 6 feet, with the same vertical drama and fine feathery plumes in late summer, clump forming, stays exactly where you plant it. Cut it to the ground in March, and it comes back cleaner every year. Like and subscribe if you're learning something new. We've got more content like this coming your way. Number 5. Creeping Jenny. The golden-leaved form, Aurea, is genuinely beautiful. Bright chartreuse, low-growing, drapes elegantly over the edge of a container or a wall. Garden designers use it as a filler. In a pot, it's perfect. Here's the problems. In the ground, it becomes a mat that excludes everything else. It spreads by rooting stems. Every node touches the soil and becomes a new plant. It tolerates wet, dry sun and shade, which means there is almost no environment it will fail in. It will root through a lawn, around perennials, and into low ground cover beds. Several Midwestern states flag it as invasive in wetland areas. Here's what to plant instead. Golden creeping thyme. The same golden color, the same low mat, but it does not root adventitiously from every stem. It stays in bounds, it's fragrant when you step on it, and it blooms lavender pink in early summer. Pollinators love it. Your garden's other residents will thank you. 4. English ivy. I love this plant because it covers a bare slope. It grows under trees where nothing else will. It looks classic, European, and permanent. Hundreds of thousands of American homes have it. Here's the problem. English ivy is listed as invasive in 26 states. In the Pacific Northwest, it has escaped suburban gardens into forests, where it climbs trees and eventually kills them, a process foresters call ivy deserts. In your garden, it will cover your beds and smother slower-growing plants. Once mature, it becomes woody and extremely difficult to remove. The berries are toxic to birds and mammals. This is one of the few plants on this list where the honest advice is, do not plant it at all. Here's what to plant instead. Native Pachysandra for shade. Pennsylvania sedge for dry shade under trees. Both are low ground covers that do the job ivy was hired to do without any of the ecological damage. 3. Ribbon grass. Why it's tempting. Green and white striped grass. 3 feet tall, graceful and bright. It lights up a shady border. The variegation is crisp and elegant, and it gives that soft flowing movement that ornamental grasses are known for. Here's the problem. The straight species, Phalaris arundinacea, is listed as invasive or noxious in multiple states and Canadian provinces. The variegated cultivar is somewhat less aggressive. But somewhat less aggressive still means it spreads by rhizome, still runs underground into adjacent beds, and still requires regular management to keep contained. In wet areas near water, it behaves exactly like the invasive species. Here's what to plant instead. Morning light or variegatus Hakone grass. golden striped, arching, graceful in shade, strictly clump forming, and one of the most beautiful foliage plants available to gardeners in zones 5-9. It earns every inch of space it takes up and does not try to take more. 2. Chinese lantern. The papery orange seed pods in fall are extraordinary, translucent, glowing, Halloween orange, perfect for dried arrangements. Florists charge real money for them. The idea of growing your own is completely reasonable. Here's the catch. Chinese lantern is one of the most aggressively spreading perennials you can put in the ground. It travels by long white rhizomes that run a foot or more underground, surfacing wherever they please. A small planting becomes a large patch, then that later becomes a border takeover in 4 to 5 years. The roots are nearly impossible to eradicate once established. You will be pulling white rhizomes out of the soil for years after the last plant was removed. It is also toxic if the unripe fruit is eaten, which matters if children or dogs are in the yard. Here's what to plant instead. Magnus purple coneflower. Stunning seedheads in fall that stay on the plant through winter and feed goldfinches from September through February. Perennial plant of the year in 1998. Clump forming, native friendly, no running, no rhizomes, no regrets. Number 1. Japanese knotweed. Why it's tempting? Well, it honestly isn't. Nobody buys this one on purpose. But comes in on fill dirt in topsoil, tucked in the root ball of a tree from a questionable nursery, or growing along a property line that was already there when we moved in. I'm including it because the number of messages I get from homeowners who inherited this plant is extraordinary, and most of them had no idea what they were dealing with. Here's the problem. Japanese knotweed is considered one of the most invasive plants on Earth. It is listed on the Global Invasive Species Database's 100 Worst Invasive Species list. It grows up to 10 centimeters per day in peak season. The rhizomes go 10 feet deep and spread 65 feet from the parent plant. It can crack foundations, break through asphalt, and emerge from concrete. It is illegal to plant or allow to spread in the UK. Several US states classify it as a noxious weed. If you have it, do not mow it, do not compost it, do not move the soil. Every cut stem and every root fragment is a new plant. Professional removal usually requires multiple seasons of herbicide treatment or complete excavation. If you're buying a house and you see it on the property, negotiate the price down or walk away. Here's what to plant instead. For that vigorous, large-leafed, screening energy in a tough spot. Limelight, panicle hydrangea, or buttonbush if you're near water. Substantial, beautiful, structurally interesting, and neither one is going to crack your foundation. Here's the thing no one tells you when you're standing in the garden center with a flat of plants and a cart full of good intentions. The tag tells you how to plant it. It almost never tells you what happens in year 4. These 10 plants are from stores right now. Some of them are probably in your yard. And if they are, you're not a bad gardener. You were just given incomplete information. The better plants I've mentioned today are not compromises. Most of them are genuinely superior. Better pollinators, better fall interest, better behavior, longer season. They just don't spread across the catalog like wildfire, so they don't get the shelf space. If you've had a battle with any plant on this list, drop it in the comments. Tell me your state, tell me the plant, and tell me how long it took you to figure out what you were dealing with. That information helps everyone watching. And if someone you know is about to make one of these mistakes, send this to them now, before they get to the checkout. I'll see you in the next one.